Alright guys, we are home now. After the show, we went back to the store and we unloaded the U-Haul and everything. We got a few things put away, and then we went and we got Chipotle, and we ate, Sam and I of course, and then Abby and Richard, and then his wife joined us there. So that was very cool. We got most of the store put back together, at least to like a point where customers can come in. None of the games that are on the shelves are alphabetized, aside from like the DS that Sam did. But I have to open tomorrow. I didn't want to. I was going to stay closed, but Abby and Sam were both like, we told so many people to come to the store and gave out cards and all this stuff, so it sounds like we might be having some people come in tomorrow, so I got to be open. So there's more work to do, but it's good enough. So Sam and I are going to go through and show you guys the pickups that we made for today. And I got the light here, so hopefully you can see a little bit better this time. We definitely didn't get like as much as the last couple days. A lot of the stuff that, you know, we were thinking about, there wasn't much, but like the few things, some of them sold, some of them we just couldn't work out a deal with the seller. They wanted, you know, more than we were willing to pay, or we just decided because of condition that it's not worth grabbing, or just for whatever reason. But we do have a few things. So first, I got the WWF Warzone manual for $1, and this is actually one of the manuals I needed to complete my copy. And before we went, I made a list of the manuals I needed, and there was only like
7.
Yeah, like 7 or 8, and this is one of them, so I was glad to find that for $1. I also picked up the Fighting Force 64 manual. This is $1 as well. It's not in like the best shape, but this is not like a super easy manual to find, and Sam's trying to steal it from me. But
because my local store has Fighting Force boxing cart, but I never picked it up because it didn't have a manual. But we'll see. It's not in very good condition, so
yeah, it's got writing on the front and back. There's tape. There's a sticker on the back.
It's really worn, so I'm not really too worried about it.
If the copy at his local store doesn't have the manual, it might also not have the tattoos, which you're not going to find those separately.
Yeah.
But got those 2 manuals. And then I also picked up one Super Nintendo game. Everything else I got was N64, but this one I'd never heard of. It's an Atlas title. It's in extremely good condition, and it was only $10, and that's GP1 Part 2 for Super Nintendo. Like I said, I've never heard of this game. I didn't even look it up. I don't know if it's a hard to find game or anything, but it is complete. Manuals was folded in half at some point. It's a little worn, but it's got the plastic baggie, which is always cool. And like I said, the box is in really nice shape. So for $10, even though it's not an RPG, it is still an Atlas title. So I thought that was kind of cool. And maybe I should look it up because I'm kind of curious as to what it's worth at the, you know, now that we're home. But for $10, I just thought that was a cool one to grab. You want to show some stuff?
Sure. I only got 3 things today. Wasn't planning on getting anything. These just kind of fell in my lap a little bit. So the first one is I got a copy of Duke Nukem 0 Hour 64 to complete the box and manual copy that I got earlier. So that was $10. I actually picked this up from Cooper Store, Mega Man Legends, for $25. I had the second one in my previous PS1 collection, and I never had this one, so I wanted to get this one and get the ball rolling on that. And then finally, this one was, I literally got this last one in the last hour. Cooper was working a deal with another vendor that we bought stuff from last year, and basically to get the deal, to get one of his games cheaper, you know, we worked out a bundle, and I gave him the rest of the money that was in my wallet, which was $25. He originally wanted $30, but he took the $25 because that was what I had.
Well, he originally wanted...
Well, he originally wanted $51, but as Cooper, I mean, a lot of his stuff was kind of overpriced, and you know, they went back and forth, and you know, then he looked it up and kind of realized that he was, you know, pretty overpriced. And so Price Charts has this game around 40. He told me 30, and I was happy to pay 30, but like I said, I didn't have 30 in my wallet, so he was nice enough to do it for 25 because that's what I had, and because Cooper bought a few games from him. So that's Iggy's Wrecking Ball. It's in really, really good shape. It has the poster and the manual inside as well. I've actually tried to buy this a couple times on eBay. I always just thought this was an interesting game, but I've always lost out on it at the end of the auction. So I didn't expect to get this, and I didn't expect him to go down from 51 to 25, but I'll take it. Yeah, and that was everything I got.
It's pretty cool stuff. So the vendors that were directly next to us, they had a couple N64 games. Most of them, they had like, I think they had like a Star Wars one and
like GoldenEye, I think.
Yeah, like a few like good games, but like common stuff that both Sam and I already have. And I had seen this one. At their booth, but I thought that I had it and I didn't bother to check. But right at the end, Abby and I made one more round, like, you know, around the vendor hall while people were tearing down, just looking for like maybe one or two, you know, final cheap N64 games that I could just pick up to, you know, get closer to the full set. And I knew that they had this one, and I looked it up. I checked my list on my phone while we weren't even at the booth to see if I needed it. Like we were on the other side of the vendor hall, but I knew they had it, so I checked, and I was like, oh, I don't have that game. So we went back. They had it marked at 28, and I asked him, you know, is he flexible at all? He said he would do $20, so I just, you know, I agreed to that. And that's Nuclear Strike 64. The box is a little crushed on this side, but other than that, it's not too bad. It is complete. It even has the baggie on the cartridge, which is always nice. I didn't look it up, so I don't know if 20 was like a great price.
I looked it up. Price Charts said it was like $27.50. So
okay,
and it wasn't a. I mean, you didn't get a steal on it, but you didn't overpay.
Yeah, I'm happy.
So
I don't know exactly how many more games I need because my spreadsheet, of course, isn't updated with the new stuff from this weekend, but it also includes variants and like a sealed copy and an open copy, you know. So I think that I'm somewhere between 40 to 60 games that I need still. But this is definitely one that was on that list, so I was happy to grab that. And then the other one that was a part of the Iggy's Wrecking Balls deal was Charlie Blast Territory. And this one's not easy to find. He originally had this priced at $102, which is extremely high. I think what Price Charts is like 55 or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's also not in the best condition. The box has a rip right there. You can kind of see that. And then it's got some creases and stuff. Overall, it's not like crushed, which is good, but it does have some creases on like the front of the box and the back of the box. But he had it marked at 102, and I, you know, pulled up Price Charts and showed him, and he's like, oh, you know. And this is a guy that we've bought stuff from before. He remembered both of our names from last time. He's a cool guy, and he's always willing to like cut deals with us because he knows that, you know, we're not looking for the Mario and the Zelda games. We're looking for like weird stuff that he's probably not gonna sell unless we buy it. So he's always willing to cut deals, and so he looked it up. He looked at the condition a little bit more, and he looked it up on Price Charts himself. And so I was actually going to try to bundle this game with Sam's, and I was going to offer him 50, and then he just told me flat out, he's like, I'll do 40 on it. And
yeah,
so
for that game,
yeah,
not for both.
This one.
Yeah.
So I was like, awesome, yeah, I'll definitely do that. So this one, I wouldn't call this like a higher end one, but of the ones that I still need, this is on the higher side. So
it's just uncommon. It just doesn't come up for sale that often. I mean, you can find it on eBay, but it's just not one that sells every day. And
yeah,
so
according to Price Charts, like one complete copy sells a month, which is pretty low.
Right.
But you know, very glad to get that one. So that was the last actual game. We finally brought this home, which I talked about before but didn't show. And this is like that weird Nintendo 64 storage container. It's got a drawer on the bottom, and then the top opens as well. So there's a few VHS in there that I also talked about.
Yeah, you can fit the games right here, the console right there, and then it slides out right here, and you can fit.
You can put like your controllers. Or,
yeah, it looks like you could probably fit the console there too, I guess. But you can put like controllers.
Yeah.
And cables, it looks like there. So maybe this is system, and maybe this is for controllers. I don't know.
But yeah, this thing's super cool. I didn't check to see if it had like. It says Dynasound Organizer Inc. So it's definitely not like an official Nintendo product, but it is still very cool, and I've never seen one. This was purchased on the first day on Friday, and I think it was.
It was 25,
and that's what I paid for it. So, pretty cool. And then just to show them, these are the 3 VHS that were in there. I think I have all 3 of these already. Maybe not this Diddy Kong Racing one, but I definitely have these 2. But
yeah, I don't see the Diddy Kong Racing one.
Yeah, I've got them back there.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah, so maybe I don't have the Diddy Kong one, but I definitely have these 2. But these were in like a dollar bin, so I didn't want to pass them up, because even when I grab these at the outlet, by weight, I pay a little bit more than that. So the extra ones will just go into the store. And then the last item, which I'm super excited about, I got after it closed, technically, from my buddy Josh Hamblin. He had it at his booth. He actually offered this to me like a month and a half ago, or 2 months ago even, and we were just too far apart on the price. It is a box controller. So this is my second boxed controller of the weekend, and my 4th controller total, because I got the 2 grape ones factory sealed. But this one is the limited edition Toys R Us exclusive Extreme Green, and this thing is in mint condition. I'm hoping I can get his price tag off the back without ripping it, but there was his original price on there. And so he had it marked at $200, and that's what the first time he offered it to me, like a couple months ago, he said $225, and I said, you know, honestly, I probably wouldn't want to pay more than about $100 for it, and the reasoning behind that was, you know, I had this in my collection before, and back then, obviously, it's gone up in price, and I understand that, but the last time I paid like $70 for it, so I was like, you know, I probably don't want to do more than $100, and it's not that it's not worth more than that, it's just, I just didn't want to spend the money. And so I asked him about it again, because it was there at the end of the show still, and he's like, well, I've got it at $200, I know you wanted to pay about $100 for it, but I really can't go that low. And so I was like, well, how about $150? And without hesitation, he just said, yeah, that works. And so I probably could have offered him a little bit less, but I'm still happy with it. It'd be difficult to find one in better condition. And one thing that I noticed about it, Sam and I just opened it before filming this, the cardboard insert is like regular cardboard color. It's like brown paper. And all the other N64 controllers in the box that I have, the cardboard insert is white. So it can't be like a reproduction. I don't think they make those, but because it's a special edition, limited edition, you know, Toys R Us exclusive type thing, maybe they just did put a different cardboard insert in there. And there's also paperwork, which none of the other ones came with. So that's kind of interesting. I don't think that the last one I had that paperwork. And then it's got the original twist tie, I believe, and the main baggie for the controller. It doesn't have the baggie for the cable, but super awesome to get this. I'm super happy. Didn't expect to get it at all. I didn't expect to get any controllers this weekend, honestly. I was just looking for a few games, but
they kind of just fell in your lap, though. I mean,
yeah.
The other blisters were literally brought to you.
Yeah.
That he knew you and offered you a good, you know, kind of a bro price on it. And then the other controller, I don't really know what the seller was thinking, because that was just way too cheap.
Yeah, the purple one, the guy, I just asked him how much, and he just threw out a number. Like, he didn't look it up or anything, and I'm not going to haggle with someone when they say $30 for a boxed Atomic Purple N64 controller, so...
Yeah, but to be fair to him, though, and we were kind of talking about this, too, because, I mean, a good example of it is like, we went back to him because he had the Bassmasters 2000 gray cart, and I also want to get all of the Grey Cart variants, and we actually looked it up. There's like 14 of them. Because I got the Aiden Chronicles the other day, and he had it marked at 100. I offered 80, and he accepted it without hesitation. So, and we kind of talked about it, and I think the reason why he probably gave you such a low price on that and why he accepted that without hesitation is because at the same time there was a guy from another game store trying to buy. He said something like, and I'm quoting here, it was something like, if I spend a couple $1,000s, can we get some kind of discount on the games? And he said yes. And so they were starting to pull out like 100, 64 and Super Nintendo games, etc. And I think the guy, it was something like $4,000, we just heard in passing when we were walking away. So I think the guy was probably just a little distracted. And because I went back, and the reason why I guess we were talking about it is because I went back and asked if he would do what he would do on the Bassmasters 2000. He had a price of $75. Price Tarts has it around $65, but at that time I only had $60 left in my wallet. But he wouldn't go lower than $65. And I didn't want that much to go into the ATM and get money or anything like that. So I guess, and then to the point, since he was only willing to go down 10 on the last day on it, and then he went down 20 on the first day, and then he went basically down 70 on, or 50 or something.
He didn't go down at all on the controller because it didn't have a price tag.
Right, but he gave it quite a bit. You said you were willing to pay 80.
I would have been, yeah,
right.
But like, because when we first got there, when I got the purple controller, and Sam got the Aiden Chronicles, when we walked up, he was still in the process of setting things up. Like the N64 thing, I was like, do you have any N64 games? And he's like, yeah, let me check. And he pulled the box out, and I was the first one to look at them. Like they weren't even out yet. So, yeah. The purple controller that I saw was in another box that he hadn't got to yet, but I saw it and I was like, ooh, can I see that? And so he didn't have it priced. He had all his games priced. I think he pre-priced them, but he didn't get to everything. So I was like, ooh, how much is this controller? And he's like, I don't know, $30. And I was like, heck yeah. He had a couple other controllers as well. He had the red one and the yellow one, which I have both of, but I looked at them anyway for potential condition upgrades if they're going to be that cheap, but they were both in pretty bad shape. So I didn't bother with those ones.
Yeah, and he might have just thought that controller was just one of the regular ones. I'm trying to look at the colors, but he might have just thought it was one of the non-special ones though too. Well, he might have been confused.
In general, like loose, the Atomic Purple controller is as common as the gray one. It's super common, but the boxed versions, even the regular boxed version, is one of the more expensive ones. But that one was the not for individual resale variant, which is even harder to find. So,
yeah,
I'm sure he didn't know that it was like a not for resale kind of deal. But even if he didn't know that purple controller in the box is worth more anyway. But I was really happy to get that because that particular one, the not for resale version, every time that I would see it on eBay, and I haven't looked in quite some time, but every time that I did see it, it was almost as much as this one. And it's a variant, but it's a duplicate at the same time, it's just another purple controller, so I would never have spent $150 on that one.
Yeah.
Because I'd be content with just having the regular one.
Yeah.
It's the only boxed controller variant that came out in North America, unless you're gonna count like some of them, like they have these characters on here. Some of them, instead of the Stormtrooper, I think they have Ken Griffey Jr. So if you want to technically get all the variants, you have to get 2 of each controller, one with this box, one with the other one. But other than that purple one with the not for resale thing is the only variant. So
yeah, but
I'm happy.
Yeah, and in fairness to the seller, so if he would have taken the time to look up the controller, he might have given him a higher price. But in fairness to the seller, he was probably more concerned about getting the $4,000 deal done versus an $80 and a $30 item.
Yeah.
Even if that really is 80 or whatever. That's still only 160 if you do the 80 and 80, and he was in the middle of a $4,000 deal. So
yeah, but either way, we're happy with the purchases we made, and he's happy. We talked to him at the very end when he was tearing down, you know, I asked a lot of the vendors like, oh, how'd you guys do, you know, did you hit your goal kind of thing. I'm not asking how much they made in sales, just asking, you know, if they did well. And I only heard from one person that they didn't do well, or that they weren't happy. No one seemed upset or angry, but
Yeah.
you know, most people that I talked to, they're like, yeah, we did great. We had, you know, it's a lot of fun, and we did well with sales and all that, which is good to hear. I would love to do more conventions. I was really thinking about the Seattle Retro Gaming Expo because it's so close physically to where we are, but I was talking to Dennis from WADA, which, you know, you guys saw him earlier, and he was saying that it was extremely small. He said it kind of sucked, honestly. So it might not be worth the 4.5-hour drive in a U-Haul to do that show, but at some point I would love to do other ones. Like, I'd love to travel for some of them, you know. I'm not going to fly and ship a bunch of merchandise, but I would drive. Yeah. You know, I would drive to like the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo or something, or like the one in Vegas.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm not going to drive to Connecticut or to New York or anything like that.
You could drive to Texas.
It would be cool to go to Retropalooza, but we'll see what happens.
I'm glad that you just said the name, because I was about to say Wadapalooza, which is a CrossFit competition. I was a little confused for a second.
So, yeah, that's our weekend at PRGE. We had a lot of fun. We got to talk with a lot of cool people, lots of cool YouTubers, and, you know, a few people told me that they watched my videos and, you know, enjoyed the channel and everything, which is always super awesome because it doesn't happen to me every day with my smaller channel.
Yeah, and I think a lot of, I think most of the, you know, other YouTubers came over too. I mean, today alone we saw at the booth, we saw Norm, Pro Jared, Ian, Pat, Gerard, Rue, and Coop, of course,
John Hancock, Reggie, Gamester 81.
Yeah.
Casey, the Game Nerd.
Right.
Kinsey, Kelsey, Cody. There's a bunch of people.
Did you say Retro Liberty?
Oh yeah, Aaron, Retro Liberty.
Yeah.
He was super nice.
Yeah.
I like that guy.
You got a couple pictures with him, I think. Or
yeah.
He wanted to take a couple pictures
yeah.
with you, rather. But
yeah, he's a super cool guy. I'm excited for his video to come out because I'm in it, like a little snippet.
That's awesome.
But yeah, he's a super cool guy. Not to like throw anyone else under the bus, but like out of everyone, I think Aaron from Retro Liberty and Norm are the two super cool guys. Everyone else is nice, of course, as well, but those two guys are just super cool.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, Norm stayed at the booth and visited for quite a while. I mean, they all did.
Yeah.
But it was really nice. And I mean, and a couple of them even bought stuff. Like I know Pro Jared bought a couple things. John Hancock looked at a couple things. I can't remember if he bought them, but I know he looked at a couple things.
Yeah.
So I mean, everyone was kind of, and we got a couple.
Aaron bought stuff as well.
Yeah, and Pat, we bought stuff from Pat.
Yeah, I have. We're carrying Pat's NES guidebook at the store now. He was offering like a box at wholesale.
Yeah,
so I got 4 books in stock at the store.
Yeah, and they're all autographed. If
anyone's interested. Yeah, he autographed them all. I didn't ask him to. I think he just kind of does that anyway.
Yeah, and it's
cool though.
I mean, that was important to him. I mean, he wants, you know, everyone to have it to be autographed. So when he dropped them off, he double checked that they were all autographed, and so, you know, everyone was happy. So
yeah, that's super cool. So we had a really fun time. I know that you know, these little recap things at the end here are just Sam and I, but you know, Abby had a great time, Josh had a good time, Richard had a good time. Everyone else that we talked to had a good time, you know, not just, you know, our little crew, but you know, everyone else, all the other vendors, all the attendees, all the YouTubers, everyone loves the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. I mean, I heard from Pat and Norm that this is their favorite expo out of all of them.
Yeah, it's really well run. You know, the design of the expo is really well laid out. There's a lot of really nice sellers.
Yeah.
A lot of really good stuff. I mean, most people are willing to make deals. You know, more deals than others, of course, and it always depends on the item, but for the most part, you can always find what you're looking for. I mean, even though I didn't get the games that I wanted to, like, you know, I really wanted to get either Stunt Racer or Super Bowling. I already had the cart for Stunt Racer, so I just needed the boxer manual. Even though I wanted to get both of those, even though I didn't get them, they were there, and I could have gotten them. You know,
just would have paid an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah, they were a little more expensive than I would have wanted, and they weren't in the condition that I would have liked, but they were there. So I mean, you know, and then Cooper got, you know, 4 out of his 5 most wanted 64 games.
3 out of 4, but yeah.
What do you mean? I thought didn't you get? Oh, you're not. He's not counting Going Clackers. I count Going Clackers. I like that game.
It's a good one, but it wasn't like in my top 5.
Okay. Technicalities, but
yeah,
he got, you know.
I wasn't expecting to be able to find that many of the, you know, those games that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because last year I looked for the same games. I didn't see one copy of Worms last year.
Yeah, there wasn't last year. There wasn't.
Yeah, I saw StarCraft and stuff, but I wasn't like dying to have it. I'm actually really, really happy about the StarCraft, about the price that I paid for it, because, like, the first time that I bought StarCraft for my collection when I was in Florida, I bought it from Gamers Inc. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
Gamers
Inc.
I bought it from them, and back then, their prices were really high and they weren't really negotiable, but it was in their case for $75, and at that time it was about a $100 game, so I was really happy with that. And of course the price has gone up, but I paid, I don't remember what it was,
but it was like, wasn't it priced at like $150?
I think it was priced at
$165.
$165.
Yeah, but and then their cartridge was like $55, so you got it for like $110 maybe.
Yeah, it was like $105, $110, somewhere in there after the discount without the cartridge thing. But I was really happy to get it for that price because I had been looking at it and it's like $150, $160, $170, and like kind of like the same thing with the Extreme Green controller. I understand and I recognize that it's worth that now because the price has definitely gone up, but it hurts when I remember specifically paying a much lower price for it last time and I have to re-buy it now. So
that couldn't have hurt worse than the Bomberman Second Attack. I don't know if you remember from your video 5 years ago or whatever.
I remember getting that.
You got it for $12 originally.
I remember that.
And you paid a little bit more of this collection for it.
Well, I'm happy. Well, okay, so the first Bomberman. This is a long clip here.
The Second Attack, not the first Bomberman.
The first Bomberman Second Attack that I bought.
Yeah.
Someone contacted me on Craigslist while I was in Florida, and they're like, "Oh, I've got an N64, and I've got these games. I want $12 each for the games." And I was like, "Cool, I'll take them." You know, there was some cheaper ones, but there was Second Attack was in there, so I was like, "I'll just take them all because it evens out and it makes even the cheaper ones worth grabbing." And then when we met up, most of them were complete in box, including that Bomberman, and I was like, "Oh my god, $12 complete in box Bomberman." Even back then, it was a $250 game.
Yeah.
This time around, though, the Bomberman that I have right now, I got from Dennis, from Wada Games, before Wada Games. When I went, it was 2 years ago, his was the second booth that I went to, and I got really lucky because that was the only Bomberman I saw, the whole expo.
Yeah.
And he had it, I think he had it priced at like $250, and I traded him a complete in box Mr. Do for the Super Nintendo that was in horrible condition. It was the worst box ever. It was like so beat up and water damaged, but he didn't have it, so he didn't really care. And I think he gave me like $60 in trade for it, which is...
I would have cared.
It's a little low for that, but I mean, in the condition, it was... That
it was
more
horrible condition.
It was real
I
bad.
remember that one. It was terrible.
So I paid like under $200 out in cash for that one, so I'm really happy. And it's cool that it came from him.
Yeah.
Because I like that. I like him a lot. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, speaking of things that like are cool that it came from, on a side note, in kind of the anti-flow, I don't know that we talked about this, but the seller that you got the StarCraft and all that stuff from, they were from Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that they have the same copies on eBay. So I was a little I guess disappointed that the copy of Stunt Racer was the same copy that I've seen on eBay for the last year, at the same price too. So I guess it would have been cool to find another one.
They could have at least taken out the eBay fee percentage and stuff, and then negotiate from there.
Well, I think the other guy in that booth, and we talked about this too, but he said he was willing to work with us a little bit more than the other guy was. But at that point in the expo, I had already kind of exhausted the budget that I set out, and I was content with what I got, even though I only walked away with 2 quality. If you count Iggy's as a quality, only 2 quality 64 games. I'm still going home with, 10 or so more 64 games, even though, most of them are filler. N64's filler is still, the cheapest filler is still $5 to $10. So,
complete, yeah.
Yeah, complete. But I mean, unless it's a sports game, most 64 complete games average like $15. So, or 10 to $15 at least. So, still going home with good stuff to, gets a little bit closer. So,
yeah.
But
yeah, so I know this clip is extremely long. We're already at half an hour, but I know you guys like the long vlogs anyway, so...
Half an hour?
This clip's
a half an hour?
Yeah, we're at 31:26 right now.
Tell me
but
it's not true. T meant it. That's what I text him all the time, and he's always like, what?
Well, the first time I was like, what does that mean? That's not like an acronym that people use.
It's an acronym that I made up. All capital letters, T-Mint. Tell me it's not true.
Anyway, I think that it would be cool if we talk about like some of the funny interactions or like the weird ones. Like we talked about this earlier, but I think it'd be cool to do it for the vlog as well. My best one is a guy came up and we had a PlayStation Vita sitting there, and the price tag was on the back of it, so you couldn't see the price. Like this customer couldn't see the price just from looking at it. He didn't ask how much it was. He was just like, "Would you take $10 for the Vita?" And I looked at him and I was like, "No."
Just reliving that is funny.
And I flipped it over and I showed it to him. I was like, "We have it priced at $100," and he like made this face like it was like way overpriced, and he's like, "Oh," and then he walked away. I thought it was so funny.
But I mean, it also and it came with a charger. It came with a case, an official case, and I mean,
it was a little Big Planet case too. It wasn't just like a generic black case.
It's not a bad price for a Vita by itself, but it came with a $10 or $15 case too. I mean,
well, the thing is, we sold a Vita yesterday, the one that I got from you, in the box for $130.
It was the
Borderlands.
Borderlands,
box.
Thank you, Borderlands.
But that game,
it's a little bit more in common, but yeah.
But that game isn't even included because it was tied to your Sony account.
Yeah, the Borderlands PS Vita, jeez, PS Vita, Jesus. It's a digital code, so once it's redeemed, you even though the box has Borderlands on it, game included, it's not really included because with PlayStation they don't let it transfer. It's not tied to the system. It's tied to the PlayStation account.
Yeah.
So,
but like that, that one we sold for $130, and the other one was priced at $100. So like, I can't imagine a Vita box has that much value. So like, pricing it down $30 without the box, but it includes the case. I thought that was a pretty good deal, and a lot of people almost bought it. But I thought that was funny when the guy was just like, "Would you take $10 for it?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Because most times when people make an offer, if I can't accept it or if I don't want to accept it, I'm just like, yeah, that'll probably be a little too low. I could probably do this, and I'll counter offer. We'll meet in the middle somewhere or whatever. But with that guy, I try to be nice to everyone, but with that one, I was like almost speechless. So all I said was no. Like I didn't explain anything until I flipped it over and showed him the price. But I just thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, another funny one that I had was there was this kind of not good condition StarCraft in the case, and it was marked at 50. And
StarCraft 64.
Thank you. Yeah, StarCraft 64. And he he pulled it out and he explained that he's like a big 64 collector. He's trying to get all the rare stuff, and you know, I was just like, oh, that's great. You know, what else can we find? You know, help you find. You know, help you get there, and you know, and basically he pulled it out and he kind of looked at it for a bit, and I guess it wasn't in that bad a condition. The label just had a little bit of like, it was a little discolored, almost like someone tried to clean it and they nicked part of the label or something at the top. And he's like, are you negotiable on this? And I was like, I don't know, what are you thinking? And he's like, I get it if it was 20. And I was like, well, I think Cooper paid more than that, so I don't think we could do that. And then immediately he countered, okay, 30. And I was like, and then Abby was standing right there, and she was like, we still couldn't do 30. And then immediately he jumped up and he was like, okay, 40. And, you know, so I mean, it was just funny that...
And then we did sell it to him for 40.
Yeah, and then it was funny that, you know, people kind of choreograph what they're trying to do. Like, there was this guy with the Pokemon Sapphire, and the Pokemon Sapphire was $19.99 with a new battery, and he pulls it out, and he has to look at it, and we hand it to him, and he's looking at it, and he has his hands, he's reaching for it, he has the Pokemon Sapphire now in one hand, and he reaches into it, he starts to reach into his pocket to grab his wallet, and then he, goes back out, and he's like, would you do 15 on it? And we were like, if you want to get a couple other things, we can negotiate, but if you're just going to buy the Pokemon by itself, then we need to be firm on that. Okay, I'll get it. So he said, he basically told us, I'm going to get it no matter what.
By reaching for his wallet before trying to negotiate.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because with some people you can tell when they ask, they're like they're fully willing to pay the full price, but they're just trying to see if you'll go down, and it's really easy to tell that they're willing to do the full price just by like their body language and stuff, and like the way that they ask. Like some people, they're like, it's like a $10 game. They're like, would you do 5 or 8? And it's like, well, I'm not gonna do 5 now that you said 8.
Yeah, there was this one guy who was like, you think you'd do like, I don't know. It was about the Nintendo Powers. He grabbed 2 Nintendo Powers. They were both $4.99. He was like, do you think you'd go lower on them? And Cooper was like, I don't know. What do you think? He's like, I don't know. 6, 7, 8. And then Cooper was like, I'd do 8. That was how it went down exactly.
That's so funny though. Like, some people are good negotiators. Some people are tough.
Yeah.
Another funny one was those kids. Someone came to the booth and traded in a copy of ARMS for the Switch, and we were being really picky with trades. We didn't really take that much at all, but we got the ARMS and we put it out for $34.99, which was like a couple dollars under price charts. And these kids, it was all the way on the other side of the booth from where people were checking out, and so they grabbed it from there. They brought it all the way around, and then as they were about to check out, they're like, would you do 25? And it was marked at 35, and I was like, I'm sorry, we're firm at the 35 on that one. And then he's like, would you do 30? And I was like, I'm sorry, we're firm at the 35. I just kind of repeated what I said the first time.
And I think you added that you just put it out, so...
Yeah, we had just put it out like
literally,
that morning.
Yeah.
And so I walked away at that point because I had to help someone look at some stuff in the glass case, so then you took over.
Yeah, and basically... it was him, the kids are probably like 12 or 13, maybe 15, I guess I'm not really sure, but there was like 6 of them, and the kid who had the game in his hand, he was like, okay, we're probably gonna pass then, and he was still holding on to it, and he started to walk away, and then he turns to the guy and he's like, you think we should just get it? And then the other kid was like, yeah, just get it. And so they're like, okay, we'll do it. And then, they were fully planning on getting it no matter what, and I don't think, we walked around a couple times. We didn't really see any Switch games, certainly not ARMS, so...
Well, there were a few. There was actually a couple booths that had, like, a ton of Switch games.
Like ARMS? I don't remember seeing ARMS at all.
Well, Limited Run was there. They had, like, their little setup, and there was another place that had, like, the Undertale limited edition for the Switch, and Hey, Abby.
Hey, Abby.
But I heard from someone else that Undertale limited edition for the Switch was like exclusive to the show, and that if you ordered it online, they only had the PS4 version in stock.
Are you guys recording?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're telling our stories.
Yeah.
They're funny. The next one we're gonna tell is the Yoshi's Island one. Cooper wants to tell that one so bad.
Well, anyway, there were a couple booths like that had some Switch games, but I did see like a few at other places, but I mean, there definitely wasn't that many.
Yeah.
But tell the Yoshi's Island one.
No, you tell the... Okay, I'll tell the first part, you tell the second part. These kids came to the booth, and actually they bought a couple things. They bought... It was another set of kids.
This was yesterday.
Yeah, another set of kids. They were probably 15, 16. They were in like a posse. There was like 6 of them again. And they were... they bought a couple things. They bought like a Pokemon Sapphire, again. And they bought like something else, and then they bought a Yoshi's Island, and the Yoshi's Island
for the Game Boy Advance.
All for the Game Boy Advance. And the Yoshi's Island definitely had some label damage. And so, but it was marked under because of it. And they asked if it worked, and we were like, of course, it just had a little label damage.
Yeah, I think it was like $7.99.
Yeah, and they said they didn't care about the label damage, and that they just wanted to get it to play. And so we were like, okay, great. And then they came back the next day, and they said they wanted to exchange it. And I guess
they said they wanted to return it.
They said they wanted to return it, and that's right, thank you. And I assumed because of the label, I was thinking, oh, it must not work. Like, maybe the label's all jacked up, so maybe the cart doesn't work for something, for some reason, even though we tested it. And so then they explained to Abby and I why they wanted to return it. And I was like, okay, Cooper, you take over. Like, actually, that's what I said. I was like, I'm just going to call Cooper over and, let him kind of, go from here.
Yeah, so they wanted to return it, not because it didn't work. They said it worked fine. They wanted to return it. I'm really not sure on the exact reason, because they kind of, said a few different things.
Yeah, he said something like, and I'm quoting here, Cooper asked, oh, does it not work? And they were like, oh, no. I think he didn't want to admit it, but he was like, it works. And then he was like, well, why do you want to return it? And he's like, well, I saw another game at another booth that I wanted to buy. So I wanted to get my $7 back. Or something like that.
He wanted to buy one of those GameCube to Game Boy Advance connector cables. And our return policy at the store, like the official return policy is, we only accept returns if an item's defective. The reason for that is because, and GameStop doesn't do this, and people take advantage of GameStop because of this. People will buy a game from GameStop, and they'll play it for a week, and then take it back and say, I don't like it, I want to exchange it. And they'll keep doing that, and they're essentially renting a game. You know
for
what I mean?
Free, basically.
Yeah, they pay for the game once up front, and they just keep changing it out every week. And they get to play this game for an entire week and then switch it out. So that's the reason that most used video game stores only accept returns if the item's defective.
Yeah, and I mean, another reason is you can switch the discs, too.
Yeah, and I mean, even beyond that, like, most stores only do it for store credit as well. And that is our official return policy. It's in-store credit for defective items only. But in this situation, if we had that cable, I would have swapped it out for him. He would have had to pay the difference because the cable is worth more than that game, but I would have just swapped it out for him. But he wanted to return the game he bought from us so he could take the money to a different booth and spend it. And I was like, I'm really sorry. If we had the cable, I'd swap it out for you, but we really can't. And like, it would have been difficult anyway, because we would have had to, well, we couldn't even do it at the show. We'd have to go back to the store and like enter it into the system as a return so that it's kept track of properly for taxes and inventory and all that. So it's not even something we really could do, but it was just funny that he wanted to return a $7 game that, like, the only reason we could tell is because he wanted to buy something else from somebody else. Like, he didn't even say that he didn't like the game. He just, he just wanted to buy something else.
He said it worked. and for some reason he just didn't want it anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
probably just because he had a budget and he wanted the $7 back. But
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, most people at the show, it's kind of like, sales are final, things are sold as is kind of deal. But, as a store, Abby made it a point to tell everyone, especially people who bought a system, like, if there's any problems at all, if anything's defective, of course it's all been tested and cleaned and everything. But if there's any problems, you can bring it into the store. You can call us. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll either get it fixed for you, we'll replace it with another working one, or we'll do a refund. And a lot of people appreciated that because most places aren't doing that. Like, just, some random guy who doesn't have a shop, who lives in Northern California, who drove up here to sell this thing. If you buy a PS2 from him and it ends up not working, you can't contact him, and you can't go to his house or whatever. You can't return it. So people appreciated that, but we can't, we can't be taking a return on a game for no reason.
Yeah.
Because he wants to buy something else, But other than those few funny little situations, everything went pretty smoothly. The entire show, not just the last day, but everything was pretty good, and everyone had a great time.
Yeah, we had a lot of return customers.
Yeah,
I mean,
people would come to the booth, 4 or 5 times and buy stuff every time.
Yeah, and we heard something weird, and I mean, when we were trying to figure out if it was a not for resale cart, but someone came and looked at a bunch of prices or a bunch of the 64 carts, and there was a Banjo-Kazooie, and they didn't buy it at first. They wanted to kind of shop around, which is fine. And they ended up coming back to us and buying it, the next day or later that day. I don't remember, but he came back to us and he made the point or he told us, I guess, that he only found a couple of the people that had Banjo-Kazooie, which seems strange because it's not, it's a pretty common game. But he said that one booth that had it priced at $80 or $90 or $85, something like that.
I think it was $100.
Okay, something crazy for Banjo-Kazooie. And so we asked him, was it the not for resale cart? And he said no. We don't know if that's, if he didn't know what the not for resale cart looks like.
I kind of think that it had to have been, because he said it was just a cartridge. It wasn't with the box, which, I mean,
even with the box,
that would
that's
be too
crazy,
much.
yeah.
But I mean, it must have been the not for resale to be that price. I mean, unless maybe he read the price tag wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, most people looking for Banjo-Kazooie aren't going to be looking for the not for resale cart. So it's I mean, if that's what happened, that's an easy mistake to make. Because if you're not a hardcore collector, because a lot of people come to these expos too, just looking to add games to their, like playing collection. Like they're not trying to get, Charlie Blasts or Iggy's Wrecking Balls. They're trying to get, games they had as a kid. And so it's easy to understand why someone could easily mix that up, because if they don't know the difference, they might just think, I want Banjo-Kazooie, I don't really care what the difference is, I just want it. And then, they're really surprised and taken back by the price, which he was. And, so that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and he ended up buying one from us, and we sell Banjo for $17.99, and I think probably like the standard price for most other places is $20. At least $20. I mean, some places are, of course, have it for more, but I didn't really look at a lot of loose cartridges, but for the ones I did, I didn't see. I saw very few people that had the games we had cheaper than us.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few, and I'm sure they sold out of them, but a lot of people had them priced the same as us or a little bit higher. So I think overall people were happy with our setup and with our prices and all that, and we handed out a lot of business cards, and I'm happy. Sam's happy, Abby's happy, everyone's happy. We had a really good time, and can't wait till next year. And you're coming back next year?
Yeah, I mean, barring some uncontrollable circumstance, yeah, I like coming back every year. I mean, it's a couple people asked me, I guess, I don't know if someone thought I was an owner or something, which I'm not. I just came to help out, to hang out, and the main reason that I want to do it is to hang out with Coop and with Abby, and so I definitely want to come back next year, like always. This was my second year. It's a lot of fun, hanging out in the booth, helping out. Cooper always says I'm a little bit too nice on the deals.
Yeah, he cuts deals.
But
he cuts too good of deals for people.
Sam makes good deals and I'm stingy.
Yeah, we were going through the thing and going through we took all the price tags off and put them in a spiral notebook so we could keep track. And all the deals Abby did, it was like $1 off, and then all the deals Sam did was like $10 off.
No, it wasn't. Most of the deals were like $3 off. Like they would buy like a filler tile PS2 game, and it was like $7.99, and they asked if you could do 5, and I was like, sure, But I mean, there was one time where it was like, it came to 91, and I gave it to him for 72. But in my defense for that.
There's no defense.
They were a hard negotiator, and it was in the convention ended at 5 p.m. today, and it was like 5:06, and the security was like rounding people up. So like I was just trying to get, everyone moving because there was another person waiting to pay, for a game that Cooper teased me about that would never sell, and it did for $2.99, and
wow.
It was a PSP game. I don't even remember what it was called, but
Loco Roco.
Yes, both the first and the second one sold, and he gently harassed me for even putting them. For even bringing them. But I was like, they're gonna sell. But anyway, yeah. And then there was. I mean,
it's all good.
People call me the Deal King.
No one calls you that.
I'm just kidding. Nobody calls me that. But yeah, it was really fun. I enjoy coming. It's really the only time of the year that I buy games. I mean, I'll buy a few here and there off eBay. Not too much, though. So, I mean, it's really I'll buy a few, like, Switch games. Like, my wife and I bought Hey You Pikachu. We're going to play it co-op. And I bought Octopath Traveler, brand new, and I really, really enjoyed it. But besides a few Switch games here and there, I don't really buy too many games during the year. So this is kind of my time of the year that I kind of, beef up the collection a little bit. And most importantly, get to hang with Cooper. And, this time was kind of especially special because I got to see his store for the first time. And got to go to the store, and I got a bunch of really awesome stuff, which you guys already saw. And I traded in a Bomberman, which he sold. That was the very first thing he sold on Saturday. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And I was glad about that because he got the same, I pretty much spent the same amount of the store that he gave me for trade, and so it allowed him to kind of move a bunch of items quicker, because I picked up some stuff that was, probably wasn't stuff that would have sold immediately, and, then the Bomberman sold immediately, so, and then he still had the manual, so that was, that was good.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know, I probably won't be in tomorrow's vlog unless I'm hoping Cooper gets up in the morning and sees me off.
It's going to be tough.
I have to fly to the other Vancouver for work, so we're leaving early.
Yeah, Abby's going to take Sam to the airport, but, I mean, I have to edit the vlog tonight. It's already past 1 o'clock in the morning right now.
I think it's already past 2 o'clock. It's 2:29.
So it's 2:30. I have to edit the vlog, go to sleep, and then wake up and go open the game store.
If it's 2:30, that must mean this clip's at like an hour. 54 minutes.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a separate video. Bonus video for you guys.
You know what the fans also want to see? And I want to hear it one more time? They want all of your Banjo-Kazooie noises.
No.
Do the banjo at least.
No, that one's got to be saved.
Come on.
No.
Abby really wants you to do it.
Do one of them.
Nope. I did one earlier.
No, but they couldn't hear. They couldn't hear with the noise in the stadium.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Come on.
It sounded something like this. It was something like that. Now do it.
Nope.
Please.
Oh, come on.
Nope. Sorry, guys.
He has these incredible, like, grunty banjo and kazooie noises. And he did a bongo from the first level. What is it called? The first level.
Spiral Mountain.
Spiral Mountain. Thank you. He did Bongo, and then he did that. Was it Bloop from Rusty or from the third level? No, Rusty Bucket Bay. The one that made the. Is that what you did?
Mumbo.
Oh, Mumbo. Okay, what was Mumbo? Do it.
Nah. I'll make an official video. It'll be Banjo-Kazooie impressions with all the lights and the 4K camera.
People don't need to see that close-up of the mouth. They just need to hear the noises.
People saw close-ups of Pat's mouth in yesterday's vlog.
But that's different. This is an impression.
And it'll be a good video.
Come on, do one more.
No, we gotta end it.
The fans are gonna be calling. Fans, you call in the comments if you want to see this.
If you want a Banjo-Kazooie impression video, let me know and I'll do it.
And if you really wanted him to do it in this video, make sure and click the like button and subscribe.
For the 5 people who are watching this part of the video, because it's an hour long, click the like button. Thanks for watching, guys. Wish Sam a farewell, and we had a great time. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.